trying to get, undo in yourself.
Stop perpetuating the insanity.
Exactly.
Because that's what it is. I was at Thanksgiving time a couple of years ago. I was on a business trip, and my company, I had my company computer, and the computer started wigging out, and so I had to call our tech team, and they were in another country. And it was during the holidays, Thanksgiving holidays. And so I'm talking to this guy in Japan, and he was actually an Englishman who was working in Japan. And in our conversation, he said to me, I said, it's Black Friday. And I said, I don't do the whole Black Friday shopping. I don't quite get it. And I just find it, I'm not going to stand on long lines forever to pick up things that I don't need. And so he laughed and he said, wow, you Americans are crazy. And I said, why do you say that? He goes, we watch you and laugh. He was like, who does that? Stay online all night to buy things that you don't need for people who don't care. And he said, we watch you and we're amazed that you guys leave your family on your holiday Thanksgiving when you're supposed to be appreciating each other. You're running out the door at 6:00 to go to a sale and stand online all night to buy giant televisions. And he just went on and on and on. And I just listened and I'm thinking, he's right. Mm-hmm. He's absolutely right. He said, you guys are crazy.
Well, it doesn't stop there. There's the fist fights that happen too.
The fights
on Thanksgiving. People are hurting each other on Thanksgiving for a TV.
Right, exactly. And I've heard people say that family members will get up from they've had dinner and everyone's talking and having a good time, and they'll look at their watch and go, it's 6:00. I've got to get over to whatever store and get online because I want to get inside and get those items.
And those are the family members that you want to share this show with so that they are starting now so they can actually eat Thanksgiving dinner with
you and stay afterwards and enjoy
and have pumpkin pie with you and not be trying to get to Macy's for, that
or whatever store.
Yeah,
or wherever you're going. All the stores are guilty of it, and we buy into it. So it's not them, it's us. So we have to get control of our lives, take our lives back and take our finances back, and don't buy into, all the things that we buy that just are consumable and don't add up to much. What a way to spend our money. In 2013, 90% of Americans planning to buy gifts, almost a third of them, 31%, approached the task without a predetermined budget or limit.
And let me just tell you, what you think you spend is never what you really spend. I had a client, not regarding the holidays, but I had a client just a couple of days ago, and she kept saying, I don't understand how I'm not saving. And I said, okay, well, what is your biggest, what's your fun money? And she's like, well, I go out to eat and I have a few cocktails, so I always take an Uber there. And I said, okay, how much do you think you spend? And she's like, oh, probably in a month, maybe like $500. And I had her go through her bank statement and highlight it, $1,200. Let me tell you, again, what you think you spend is not what you really
actually spend. That's right.
So, and I'm sure same goes with the holidays. You might think you spent, $1,000 last year, but I challenge you, if you went through and added up your receipts and your bank statements, and I went through and highlighted what you spent last year, I can guarantee you that you spent more than you think you spent.
That's right.
So now with this year, if you have a predetermined plan, I don't like to call it a budget, it's a plan.
It's a plan.
It's a plan because you're not limiting, you're actually choosing what makes you happy or what's going to bring more joy. So it's a plan. So with your predetermined plan, you can actually know the amount that you're going to spend. And if I go back to tracking and writing it down, write it down, everybody. And the holiday planner will help you do this and add it all up for you. If you keep track of what you spent, you will stick to that plan and stick to those numbers. Right. And then what you think you spent will be what you spent.
That's right. And you'll be happy at the end. That's a victory. Something worth clapping about. Do we have a clap in there somewhere for that? Right? That's a victory. Why not? Because there you go. Because why not?
not?
Be in control of your money and your life and what you spend it on.
Why not start the year fresh and not
in debt.
Not in debt.
Not
Why
in credit card debt.
And if you, and then it's also a victory if you can do it at the holidays, then you can do it for anything that you want to save for.
That's right.
And it's sort of you're using the holidays as a training to train yourself. Okay, if something is coming up, like summer vacation, I think about it the same way I think about the holidays. I come up with a plan. I come up with what I want to spend. I see how much I have to save. I have 6 months to do it. I know how much I have to save every month. It's, you're starting to train. This holiday exercise is actually a life exercise.
That's right.
And if you can challenge yourself to do it for the holidays, it's gonna bleed over into every other thing that you do, and it's really gonna change your financial, outlook. It's getting you to be a steward of your money and be in control of your money.
Right, because if we can gain control of our emotions that are attached to Christmas, because Christmas is the biggie. If you can get your spending under control in Christmas, you can do it for the rest of the year with every situation. Like you said, planning your vacations, planning birthdays, planning anniversaries, Valentine's Day, any holiday or event where money is being spent, we need to take control of that and do it in a way that's comfortable for us, because credit card debt is never the way to go. It means you can't afford it. It really does. It means you cannot afford it. And I mean, that might be breaking news for some and old news for others, but it's the truth. If you have to put it on a credit card, it's because you can't afford it. So be very careful how you use your credit cards.
Saying I'm going to just put it on and pay it off, life never works the way you want it to.
That's right.
And the minute you put it on that credit card, something in life is going to happen and you're not going to be able to pay it off.
That's right.
So don't even put yourself in that predicament in the first place. Just plan ahead, save, you'll know how much you need to save every month. Let's say you set your, you go through and you set your holiday budget at $1,000. Well, you can save, if you can save $250 every month from now until the holidays, you're golden. And you don't have to put anything on a credit card. If you were to say, I'll save $500 and I'll put $500 on a credit card and then I'll pay it off in 2 payments in January and February. Let me tell you, life has a way of throwing you a curveball, and I can guarantee you something will happen in January and February, and then you'll say, I'll pay it off in March and April. And then we go back to where we started about it's going to take a year to pay off your holiday.
That's
so don't even start. Don't even put it on the credit card. Put those credit cards in the freezer, in a drawer that that you don't take them to the stores. Right.
Now you bring up a great that's a great point. What about taking only cash when you go shopping? Because I really, in my past, have been a shopaholic. I make no bones about that. 20 pair of black shoes, the whole nine. But how I got past it was to spend cash. It's a different emotion tied to taking that $100 bill out of your wallet and giving it to someone to pay for that blouse for your girlfriend.
Yes, it's scientific, actually.
When you release that money and see that 900 is left?
Yeah, it's actually, what you're talking about is actually scientific. They've been doing a lot of biochemistry and brain studies.
I'm a genius.
And what they find is that every item, let's say you have a bottle of water here, and you see the bottle of water and you think to yourself, oh, I want that bottle of water. In your brain, a little bit of serotonin is released, and pleasure. I want to have happy. And then you see the price of that, and let's say the price is $10, and you go, oh, pain, I don't want that anymore.
Right.
But you got the pleasure and the pain. If there's more pleasure than there is pain, you will buy it.
Right.
If there's more pain than there is pleasure, you'll leave it there.
Right.
When you have cash, and you pull out the cash, the pain and the pleasure are interacting.
That's right.
So you feel it, you feel the immediate. What happens when you pull out the credit card is the pain is being put aside to come back at a later time. It's diverted. So all you're getting is the pleasure.
That's
and so even people who use their credit cards and pay them off every month, they actually do spend about 20% more than they would if they were pulling out cash. So basically, you want to, by using cash, you get that pain and that pleasure at the same time. So that's why I say if you're having that where you're struggling a little bit with not using your cards, pull out the amount of cash. Use
Right.
cash, because then you'll really start making different decisions.
You definitely
because you're
will.
associating the pain and the pleasure at the same time, as opposed to deferring it till
That's right.
January when you get that bill.
Right. And even for the folks who say, well, I can afford the money I spend. Okay. I'm not saying you can't. Everyone is not in a limited financial situation. But the amount of money that you're spending on items, you should at least be aware of.
Yes.
And there is no emotion attached. Like you said, it's all pleasure. You pull out the plastic, you pay for it. Yay, yay, yay. And when the bill comes, if you write a check or you go online and pay for it, there's no actual touching of that money. So it becomes almost, it's like a distant emotion. Or no emotion attached except the joy of what you purchased.
It doesn't connect to that precise.
It doesn't
precise purchase.
That's right.
It's just a lump of
sum.
Oh my God, my bill.
Right.
But you don't connect it to each individual purchase
That's
that you
right.
made. So you're just going to keep perpetuating the swiping of the card.
Right.
So doing cash, or let's say you do take your cards to the store, which I tell people don't, because if there's something you really want, you could always come back and get it if you don't have the cash.
Right.
But let's say you do use your card. Don't wait till your bill comes. The reason you have a plan and you know how much you're saving and how much you can spend. So if you have to use the card, the next day make a payment.
Right.
Then you're really connecting to your money that way.
Yes, I believe that to be true. So try to use cash when you're going out and doing your Christmas shopping. That's a tip from Christmas in July. Also, if you are going to use a card, because some people aren't comfortable traveling with cash, then use the card and pay it off the next day. You have the money to pay it off.
Or your debit.
Or your debit card. Use your debit card.
Yeah.
If you have the money to pay it off, like you say, and you've saved this money for that holiday spending spree that you're going to go on, do it as close to cash as possible. Either physical cash in your hand or a debit card with an allotted amount that you predetermined to spend. We're almost out of time. I want you to give us that website again so we can go to your freebie page and download the guide to how to do this.
It's themoneystylist.com, and look for the freebie page. And while you're there, sign up for the newsletter, because I send out all these tips and tricks and freebies about once a month. And so you want to get them. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can download off the freebie page, but make sure that you download the holiday planner, because it's really going to get you thinking about all of those things that you like I said, what you think you spend is not what you really spend, and it's going to start making you think about those categories that you forgot about last year that you spent money on.
I agree. I think we should make our budget, go to Ari's page, download the budget for Christmas. This way you see it gives you things that you didn't even think of, because some of the things we talked about here today are things I didn't even think of. Like, actually, how much does wrapping paper cost, and how much does the little cutesy bags and the little decorations you put on those things cost before you put the item in the bag,
postage.
Right?
Don't forget about
postage.
postage.
And the postage, that's right, because if you're sending gifts to people out of state or out of town, these companies that send them out for you, they become even more and more expensive as you get closer to the holiday. So that's another reason to plan ahead. If you have to mail things out, you want to get it done early, because the closer you get to the holiday, the more expensive it is.
And the longer the line.
And the longer
Nobody wants to be standing
line.
in the post office on, December 20th.
Yes,
with
an
the
hour
line
or
wrapping around the
two
building.
trying to mail off things. It becomes a very tedious experience, and we want to make it an enjoyable one. You're listening to Lunch with the Finance Bunch on Accelerated Radio. This is Miss Charline. I'm so glad you listened in to our Christmas in July. Thank you, Ari Gold, again for joining us. This has been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Check us out on YouTube so you can see this again, and send it to a friend. They need it too. Thank you. This is Miss Charline, and you're having Lunch with the Finance Bunch every Friday, 12 to 1 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you, Ari.
Thank you.